English. So by this time, is everybody gonna listen to my English and understand it or not? Or should I switch to
Yeah.
No understand. No understand. Better in Spanish.
I can't talk loud.
Yeah, can you speak a bit louder, please?
Okay, I'll try to speak a little bit louder. If everybody's quiet, then you guys can listen to me. Else, no. Okay, so let's start with this topic. I didn't really know what topic to choose, so right now there's a lot of work talking about agile, what's agile, should I use it, should I not use it, so that's why I chose this topic, agile or not agile. That's the question, should we use it or not? I study computer system engineer. I have a master's degree in computer science and recently got the Scrum Master certification, so I've been working with that for around 5 months because my other job role is build and deploy for my team at IBM. So let's get started. These are some of the contents that we're going to be looking during this, 30 minutes maybe. So we're going to remember the waterfall development. I'm sure everybody has used that. That's the only thing that we used to use when we started to develop software. And what the fuck is agile? Contrast with waterfall, the good, the bad, and not the ugly, which is only those. Something about the agile software development. There's a lot of different types of software development tools that you can use for agile. But this time we're going to concentrate only on Scrum framework. We're going to talk about how does this Scrum framework work, why not to use agile, and why should we use agile? So let's get started. Waterfall development. Well, it's not actually that waterfall, but that's when we say the word waterfall, we always get a picture of that. So I'm sure that all of you guys have used waterfall methodology, or is there somebody that hasn't used it? Yeah,
Every 2 weeks I implement a new waterfall. we call it the sprint safe and stuff, but it's a waterfall with a fancy name.
It's a new agile.
It's a new agile. It's a kind of agile.
Okay, so if we start to remember a little bit about this waterfall development, we all know that in order to move to another stage, we have to finish the first one that we're working on. And we really get back to one stage. You start with requirements, and you move on to design, then you finish that, you move on to development. You never go back again and do another design, or never go back and do another requirement. So all of us know that normally requirements sometimes change. If we start working on it, the customer, the user tells I have these requirements and I want you to develop them. And then suddenly, you know what? I don't want this anymore. I want you to develop this other thing. Okay, get your mind in order. You have to decide. Development, we also know that it takes forever. That's the phase where we spend the most time of it. Testing is sometimes good. We develop all our code and it works fine. And then we move on to the next one, or sometimes we divide the work by team members or something. So somebody works in one module, other one works in another one, and it works fine. But then when we try to integrate them, it's everything is messed up. It's not working. So you don't really realize the value of the project until you deliver it to the user. And you always leave testing at the end. You don't really do a lot of testing while you're developing your code and doing all of that. Okay, so what is agile? I know some of you guys have maybe heard agile is everywhere. There's some companies that have started to implement it. Some others are still working with waterfall. There's a lot of different choices that you can use in order to develop. So although agile is not really that new, it started around in 2000, but before that, in the 90s, already there were some other methods to work. For example, extreme programming, Scrum. There was also FDD, crystal clear, RAD. Unified process. There was different types of options that you had in order to develop your software. But in 2001, there was like this 17 people that got together and like suddenly decided to talk about how to develop, how to make a better progress, how to develop their work and everything. So they came up with a thing called Manifesto for Software Development. And what is that manifesto? It's a way for the agile software development. It contains 4 values and it contains 12 principles. I'm not really going to get more too deep into that. You guys can check them later. Okay, so then what's agile? Okay, agile is a philosophy. It's a set of values and principles, as I mentioned earlier, the 4 values and the 12 principles. It's not a process, it's not a methodology, it's not a framework. And the way it works is repeated in cycles, so that's why they were saying iterations. And also, which means like smaller portions of code or of molecules or releases that you're going to be doing in an incremental time. So also another thing about agile is that it's a self-organizing team. What does that mean? There's like motivated individuals that have to be motivated. If you're not motivated, you're going to be doing a good job. They work together towards a common goal, and they have like the ability to take decisions whether they're going to adapt to a change or not adapt to a change. For example, if the customer or the user suddenly says, you know what, I need you to implement this other change, they have like the ability to respond quickly and to accept that change or not accept it, to take the decision. Not like have like this other person and go like talk to them, see if he accepts it or not. They can take those decisions quickly. And it also is about cross-functional teams. This means that there's different types of expertise in the team. There's people that are going to be included. There might be for finance people, there might be marketing, there might be operation, there might be design, developers, testers, business analysts. A lot of different type of expertise in the team. So at the end, it's more about mindset and approach in order to develop stuff. Whether it's like a software, a product, or whatever you're going to be developing, it's more of a mindset and a way of work that everybody's going to be doing. Okay, so I'm going to do like a little bit of contrast between waterfall and agile using these 5 characteristics. Okay, so first of all, for user involvement, we know that on waterfall, the user is only like participating during the requirement session. After that, we don't see them, never. Until the end, when we like give him like all the code integration, all the products, that's when we see again the user. But it's normally only on the first stage of requirements, and then he disappears, and we never see him again. And in agile, we see him like in each stage. We can be talking or getting together with the user face to face during the design, during the requirements, during developing, and you're like giving him a little bit of chunks of what you're performing, so that makes him like he can be checking if whether it's right or not, and you can make those changes quick. Some other things uncompared, as we know in waterfall, the software is delivered after all the stages are completed. You can't like design the software at the stage of design. You don't have something valuable, something that adds business value to what you're doing. And in agile, there's like it says the way of work is incremental. So that means that there's you get together and you work on one module or something, and you can change it, show it to the user, and he can see if it's working all right or not, if he's okay with it, and you can. If he said, you know what, I need to make another change or something, you can still give him something that is operational, that's working, and then like make those changes that he's asking you to do. For manpower, there's more staff on the waterfall front, and there's less staff in the agile. And what I was just mentioning that after months, on the waterfall, after like many months, you have something operational that's going to be like kind of working. Because sometimes when you like give it to the end user at the end, so something he starts to check and stuff like that, he doesn't like this, he wants you to go back again, pull that, it's going to generate more cost, more time, and a lot of other things, you know. And for Agile, you can deliver valuable pieces of what he's asking for and within a few weeks, because you can work with sprints of 2 weeks, 4 weeks, depending on how you organize with your team. And well, the project size, well, Waterfall is not sort of for a small project. That's more for like huge projects, and Agile is more for like the small projects that you want to work on something fast, and you want really something valuable and you want to see it. Okay, the good, the bad, and it's not really like the good or bad. It's like the advantages and the disadvantages of using Agile. So, for example, something good about Agile is that the customer satisfaction is going to be more continuously, because there's like more meetings with the user. Yeah, more meetings. Some people don't like meetings, but with that way you can have the client like more calm, because he's seeing what you're working on. He's seeing that you really have something prepared, that you're not like you're just on the computer just saying that you're coding and you're not really coding. You're saying, it's compiling. And it's not really compiling. He's really
compiling
so he's really seeing something like valuable, something that he can like work on or whatever, and not like just saying that you're doing something and not actually doing anything. So other thing that's good about Agile is that, as I mentioned earlier, it's delivered more frequently. You can work, we call them sprints, and those sprints can be from 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks at the most. And each of those sprints there's like a planning session, but I'm going to talk about that later a little bit more, a couple more slides. And also, as I mentioned, there's like more face-to-face conversation between the team, between the product owner, between the user. So like everybody is like more happy or whatever, because everybody is getting to know the requirements and everything, and not like doing something and at the end finding out that wasn't really what the user wanted you to do. Also, as I mentioned earlier, with Agile, there's like quick responses to changes. So if the client like asks you to do a certain requirement and you find out at the end that he doesn't really want that anymore, he wants a slight change, well, you can adapt and do a quick response to make that change that he's asking for. And even later changes, requirements are welcome, yeah. Even though he didn't ask for that at the beginning, but you still have time, or you can still implement that change, so you still do it. Well, something bad about Agile is that a lot of people say too much meetings. You want a meeting for a daily stand-up, you want a meeting for planning, you want a meeting for perspective, you want like tons and tons of meetings. So like, what time are we going to work? What time are we going to be productive if we have tons and tons of meetings? So that sometimes leads into like the members have less interest in the project because of all those meetings that they have scheduled. Another thing, like kind of bad, is that sometimes if a person leaves from the group, well, he may have like a lot of knowledge about an application or something. So if he leaves, that knowledge is lost. So it's going to be like kind of hard to get somebody with that knowledge or for the team in order to handle that person that's not anymore in the team. And well, it also demands more time and energy from everyone because there's more interaction between the customer, between the product owners, between the team. So it's kind of gets sometimes exhausting. Okay, sorry to be
That's the agile I know. Great agile. Positive.
These are like Agile is like seen kind of like an umbrella because below it there's like a lot of different type of Agile software development tools that you can use or use in order to develop your software, whatever you're going to do. So some of them are like right there, Scrum, Kanban, Crystal. The ones that in my group we've been working more with is with Scrum and Kanban. The other ones I haven't really worked with them. I don't know if anybody else here has worked with any other one besides those.
Scrum programming.
Okay, for this time I'm going to talk a little bit about the Scrum framework that for this one is small, cross-functional, and self-organized team. We have already mentioned what cross-functional and what self-organized means. And well, you split like all of your work into small pieces in order so you can like be working on a small piece and deliver it. It's fine. Okay, then move on to another one, small pieces. But at the end, you know that small piece really means something. It really has a functionality. It's not like a huge piece that at the end it is not working. We sort these small like pieces of work by priority, and we estimate like the effort for each one. The effort I'm not sure if you guys used to estimate your effort in like man hours or something. Like how many hours am I gonna take for developing this project or whatever? I don't know, like 80 hours, or 10 hours or whatever. And on Scrum Framework, we as the last image, the meme that was for story points, we estimate them with story points. It starts like 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8, and in order to see how long am I going to take for each of these work items or tickets that I have assigned. So the product owner is the one that has the what and the why. He's the one that's going to have like all the information regarding what we're going to work on. The Scrum Master he or she keeps the Scrum as a facilitator in order if there's any blockers or anything within the team, he or she would have to look for the way in order to remove them. And we have also the Scrum Delivery Team, which is the how and how they're going to deliver. So the Scrum team is not going to be told how you're going to do it. You're a team, you're self-organized, and you can decide whether you're going to implement it with, I don't know, with one tool or this other tool, or whatever one fits better for whatever you're going to do. You're not going to be told, like, you have to implement it this way, you have to use these tools. You can decide which tools or whatever you're going to use for the development. So, for example, it starts with, there's the product, and then we have product backlog items, where all of these are like divided in like small tasks in order to work on. So these are ordered by the product owner. He decides which ones we're going to be working on the sprint. So on that sprint we have a product backlog, and then the team is the ones going to decide which ones are going to be worked on during that sprint. So this is the Scrum framework. As I mentioned earlier, it starts right here with the product owner. He has the inputs from all the team, the stakeholders, customers, users, comes to the product owner. Then he makes a list of what are going to be the features, the stories, tasks, or epics that we're going to be working on. And he ranks them in priority, which ones have more priority than others. So that's considered as the product backlog. Then after, in the team, there's a sprint planning meeting. So that's where the team is going to select how much work is going to be developed during the sprint. If you have like time working with it, you can know if your team, I don't know, if it can finish 120 story points, then you'll add tickets on this sprint planning in order to that you know that you're going to finish those 120 story points, or maybe you only complete 100. So based on those metrics that your team has, you can know how much work you can input onto the sprint planning or how much not work you're going to put into. So then, as I mentioned, sprints are normally worked in 1 to 4 week sprint. Just you're not recommended to have like more than 5, 6, 7 weeks in one sprint. And every 24 hours, there's a daily Scrum meeting where the team is going to participate with 3 questions, asking what I did yesterday, what am I going to do today, and if I have any blockers or anything. That's like for the team, so in order the whole team can know what you're working on, if there's any blockers, if he or she needs help, if maybe sometimes you're developing something that he's had already done and he can help you or something. And the Scrum Master also weekly or monthly is presenting some burn down charts. So that's like how much work has been completed and how much work is remaining. So in order the team can see that if they're doing good, if they should hurry, if they're just like sitting there and not working. So in order for the team to know how much work is still remain and continue working on it. At the end, there's we have like the project, the module that you can give to the user, and that's like already finished work that he can already have something operational. And at the end of the sprint, we have a sprint retrospective. And that meeting, there's also like questions that we have to add postings. They were laughing a lot. And that's where you add the ones that like what went well during the sprint and what didn't go well during the sprint, and like what actions can we take in order to do a better job on our next sprint. So if this wasn't really clear, this is an analogy. Everybody loves their clothes, don't they? The washes their clothes. So like the analogy would be, okay, you all have your wastebasket with all your dirty clothes right here. And you decided it's Saturday, you're gonna wash your clothes, so here's today's load. So you go to the washing machine, 1 to 2 hours, you put, depends on how dirty it is or whatever. And then after that, I know 30 minutes in order for it to dry. So that would be over here like the day of the Scrum meetings. And then at the end, well, you have a wearable product. You have you have your clothes all washed. So that would be like kind of like an analogy for the Scrum and your clothes washed. Okay, so when not to use agile. If your team is not a self-organized team, or if they have to be telling them what to do, it's not going to work. If your project is very urgent or too complex, it's not going to work either. Your customer requires neat documentation in each development cycle, because on agile we kind of like skip documentation. So if he really requires really neat and good understanding documentation, maybe agile won't be the best for you to use. And also sometimes there's like another projects you have to like an approval from each stage. So if you want approval on each stage, well, that's gonna take like forever and not really gonna work. And if your customer wants you to use the traditional, the one with waterfall, and doesn't want to hear a word about agile, there are some companies that maybe don't want, they have been working with waterfall and it have been working okay, so they want to continue with that. They don't want to really learn more things. And also if your organization doesn't want to invest in agile practices for developers, testers, management, so that would be when not to use agile. So why should we use agile? Well, some of these have already been mentioned earlier. For example, the decisions can be made quickly if there's like a new change that needs to come up quick and it has more priority. But we can take out some of the tasks that we like scheduled for the sprint. But if there's something with better priority, well, we can put it in and take the other one out for meanwhile.